Sharecropping and tenant farming. Tenant farming was very popular in antebellum Georgia because it helped the agricultural economy after the abolishment of slavery in 1865. In 1850, more than 40% of the counties in the northeastern Georgia mountains were made up of tenant farmers and 30% of the Cotton Belt, a region in the South where cotton was the dominant cash crop in the 18th, 19th, and 20th centuries, and Upper Piedmont was tenanted farms. Tenant farmers usually owned animals, equipment, and supplies, which resulted in more harvests since their landowner did not have to deduct anything from their pay. Sharecroppers were mainly formerly enslaved people, while tenant farmers were primarily poor whites and former slaves. Sharecropping is when people rent small areas of land from a landowner for a certain percent of the crop. Sharecropping allowed landowners to regain a labor force after the abolishment of slavery. The Freedmen's Bureau forced former slaves to sign contracts with former slave owners to sharecrop because they were unable to find work after the abolishment of slavery. This was because just because African Americans were given more rights does not mean that the Southerners automatically started to like them and want to hire them. Some sharecroppers were able to make enough money to rent or own their own land, but most were left in terrible situations. Some went into major debt, and others were forced to sign unlawful and unethical pacts that left them helpless due to poverty or the threat of punishment. Sharecroppers were in a cycle of debt, which included the landowner providing land, food, and necessities, the sharecropper receiving half of the crop minus the amount for the food and necessities, and the sharecropper not being able to pay off all the deductions, which resulted in them having to promise the landowner more the following year. Sharecroppers grouped for higher salaries and better labor conditions, and they formed the Southern Tenant Farmers Union in the 1930s. Sharecropping became less popular in the U.S. during the 1940s due to high-paying mechanical jobs in urban areas. However, this still exists today in places like India, Ghana, and Pakistan.